Hello everyone, welcome to the session. In the previous session, we have discussed on version space. So now, in this session, we shall discuss candidate elimination algorithm with an example and inductive bias. So now let's begin with the candidate elimination learning algorithm. This candidate elimination algorithm, which will compute the version space containing all the hypotheses from H that are consistent with an observed sequence of training example. So let's begin with initializing the version space to the set of all hypotheses in H. So here you can see there are two boundaries are there. That is, we will initialize a G boundary with an constraint. That the constraint is any value is acceptable. So here I have written 6 attribute values, that is a hypothesis or boundary, G boundary, which consists of an hypothesis. In that hypothesis, all the values are filled with constraint called as any value is acceptable. Similarly, I have to initialize another boundary, that is S0. So in this S0, what I do, I will write all the values with null values. So 6 attributes are written with null values. So it means that I have defined two boundaries. One is G0, that is more general hypothesis, and another is your more specific hypothesis. So these two boundaries sets that will delimit the entire hypothesis space, because see, you can see that every other hypothesis in H, that is more general than S0 and more specific than G0. See, as the algorithm says that you have to initialize G to the set of maximally general hypothesis in H, that is we are done with this one. And second step is you have to initialize S to the set of maximally specific hypothesis in H. So these two are done. So as each of the training example is considered, the G and S boundary sets are generalized and specialized so that it will be used to eliminate from the version space any hypothesis which is found inconsistent with the new training example. So our algorithm has started by two steps. One is initializing the G boundary, which consists of maximally general hypothesis in H, and second step is initializing your specific boundaries to the set of maximally specific hypothesis in G. So next step is for each of the training example what we have to do, that we shall see now. Now let's begin with the training examples. So if you have a positive training example, you need to perform some sort of computation, and if you have negative examples, then we shall see how we have to perform that. So let's consider the first step. If you have a positive instances, what you have to do, you have to remove from a boundary called as G boundary, that is any hypothesis which are inconsistent with D. So this is your first step. Second step is for each of the hypothesis in S that is not consistent with D. So such hypothesis has to be removed from your S, and also not only removing those hypotheses, and also you have to add to your set, that is S set, that all minimal generalization H of S such that H is consistent with D and some members of G which is more general than H. And next step is you have to remove from S that any hypothesis that is more general than any other hypothesis in S. So this is your steps which need to be performed when you have a positive example. Similarly, you have to perform when you have the negative examples. You have to remove from S, that is any of the hypotheses which are inconsistent with the D. And also for each of the hypothesis in G that is not consistent with D, what you have to do? You have to remove the G, that is any of the hypothesis from G that is inconsistent, and not only doing that, you have to add G to minimally specialization H of G such that H is consistent with D and some other members of S that is more specific than H. So the last part is you have to remove any G, remove from G any hypothesis that is less general than other hypothesis in S. So these are the steps of your candidate elimination algorithm. So you will understand clearly with the example. So let's start with an example and try to understand the algorithm in detail. So let's begin with an example. See, already we have seen in the algorithm that the first two steps are you have to initialize the boundary sets. So that is your G0 and S0, which means that most general hypothesis and most specific hypothesis in H. So this is your S0 and G0, which will tells you that this is your most specific hypothesis and this is your most general hypothesis. So now let's begin with the first training instance. Here you can see this is your positive instance. So whenever you take the positive instance, these are the steps need to be performed. What is the steps are? See, if D is a positive example, what you have to do? You have to remove from G that any hypothesis is inconsistent with D. So here we have only one hypothesis which is consistent with my training instance. How we can check that? Let's see here. You have a question mark here. Here what you have? Sunny means any value is acceptable. Here it is sunny. Second is any value is acceptable, warm. And similarly for all the attributes, which means that this hypothesis classifying this instance as positive as a positive instance. So no need to change this one. You have to just update with the boundary saying that G1. Similarly, you have to check with the S boundary. In S boundary, what we have? We have only one hypothesis, which is most specific hypothesis, which consists of all the constraint, that is null constraint, that is no value is acceptable. So what you have to do? You have to upgrade, means you have to revise this hypothesis such that you have to make the hypothesis which will classify your instant positive as a positive instance. So how do you do this one? Again, you compare with your instance and this hypothesis. So any value is acceptable. Here what you have? Null value you have. In order to make this instance as a positive instance, how you have to update your hypothesis? By replacing your same values. Sunny, sunny, warm, warm, normal, normal you have, strong, strong, warm, same, here also warm and same. So if you write this hypothesis, so it will classify your instance positive as a positive instance. So while writing the boundaries of while writing the hypothesis in both the boundary, that is S boundary and G boundary, you have to make sure that the hypothesis whatever you have written will classify the instance as a positive instances. So this is very important that you have to remember. Second instance that we shall see now. So now let's consider your second instance. Here again it is of positive instance. When you have a positive instance, what you have to do? You have to remove the hypothesis from G which is inconsistent with the training example. So again check that what you have previously, what we had the same, that is a hypothesis that is more general hypothesis. That it means that all the attribute values which consist of constraint, that is any value is acceptable. So you have to check whether this hypothesis is consistent with my second instance. Again, the study is sunny, any value, warm, high, that is strong, warm, same. So this hypothesis, again, it will classify second instance as a positive instances. Similarly, not only with the second instance, again you have to check with the first instance whether this hypothesis, that is this hypothesis, will classify my previous instance as a positive. So let's see here. Here also you have any value is acceptable, sunny, any value is acceptable, warm, normal, strong, warm, same. That is this hypothesis, if you replace the constraint, that is any value is acceptable, with this all 6 attributes, it will classify first instance as a positive instance, second as a positive instance. So this is with respect to the first step of your positive example. So similarly, you have to do with the second step of your positive example. That is, for each of the hypothesis S, here small s, in S, capital, that is set, that is not consistent with D. If it is not consistent with D, you have to remove the hypothesis from S. Not only that, if possible, try to restructure the hypothesis with the minimally generalization H of H. The condition is that hypothesis should be consistent with D. D in the sense, again, the first instance and also second instance, and some members of G which is more general than H. That is, you have to replace with the more general than constraint of H in G. So that is your second step. And third step is you have to remove from S any hypothesis that is more general than other hypothesis in H. So now let's see this second instance. What we have previous hypothesis is, this is your previous hypothesis. So what you have to do, you have to make sure that whether this second instance is consistent with my current hypothesis. So what I have to do, sunny is there. So fine, while updating your hypothesis, this value is kept same, sunny. Warm, same value. High is there. You have to replace the minimal generalization of H. So I will replace with the question mark. And next, norm, strong, warm you have, see here, warm you have, and same you have. So the updated hypothesis is this one. Now whether this hypothesis is consistent with my D or not, that has to be checked out. Sunny is there. Here also you have sunny is there. That is with respect to first instance. Warm is there. Here any value is acceptable. Your normal is there. And also in the second instance, what you have, high is there, means you can have any one of the value, that is normal or high, in order to make both your first instance and second instance as a positive instance. So next one is strong is there. Here also strong you have, and this hypothesis also strong value you have. Warm, same. Here also warm, same, and here also the updated hypothesis is your warm and same. So this hypothesis, that is newly updated hypothesis, that is S2, which consists of a hypothesis that is consistent with the first instance and also second instance. So this is how we have updated our boundary, that is S2 and G2. Now let's see with the next instance, that is of negative instance. So the third instance is of negative instance. Here you can see that what you have to do with the third instance when you have the negative example? You have to remove from S, that is any hypothesis which is inconsistent with D. So you have to make sure that whether this hypothesis is inconsistent with my training example. That is third example. I already said that one attribute is enough to make your instance negative as a, means it will classify your negative instance as a negative instance with respect to your hypothesis. So here what you have, sunny you have, what you have, rainy you have. So this one attribute is enough to make your negative instance. So this is the my updated hypothesis, and also not only with this updating, you have to make sure that whether the first instance and second instance will also classify positive as a positive. So this is similar to that your S2. So this will classify both first instance and second instance, and third instance negative as a negative. So no need to update this one, keep as it is. So this is first step. Second step is what you have to do for each of the hypothesis G, in G that is not consistent with the D, you have to remove G from G. So here what you have, the second that is G2, all a hypothesis which accept all the values. So if I do this, if I keep as it is, so this hypothesis will not classify my third instance negative as a negative instances. So what you have to do, I have to update this boundary, that is G2 from G3, which consists of set of hypotheses. Here you can see 3 hypotheses. So how we have received these 3 hypotheses, that we shall see now. So in order to make the third instance negative instance, one attribute is enough to make that negative as a negative instance. So what is that? So what I have done, I have taken the first attribute, that is sunny, and I have kept all the remaining attributes with the same constraint, that is any value is acceptable. So what you have, sunny you have, and also you have rainy. So this will classify your hypothesis, that this hypothesis will classify your third instance negative as a negative. And also you have to make sure that is remaining 2 instances whether it will be classified positive as a positive, that you need to check. So what you have, sunny you have, here also sunny you have, and what you have remaining, all value is, that is any value is acceptable, that is you can go with this hypothesis. So this hypothesis is acceptable. Second is why I have taken here sunny, why I have not taken cloudy. As you know that in concept learning you have 3 different values for your sky attribute, that is one is rainy, sunny and cloudy. But till now how many types of values we have faced? Only 2 values, that is one is sunny and another is rainy. So what I have to do, in order to make your instance negative, I have just taken the previously values of your instances, that is sunny and sunny I have. So I have taken in my updating hypothesis with the same value, that is sunny. So this sunny will make this third instance as a negative instance. So second is I have taken the second attribute, that is warm. Here what I have, warm I have, but what I have here, cold value. So this is acceptable. So similarly I have another value, another hypothesis is there, that you can see that question mark, and here what value I have, here I have normal and also here I have high. So if, and in the third instance what you have, high you have. So what is the opposite value of it is another value of high is normal. So and remaining is any value is acceptable. This is your third hypothesis. This is first hypothesis, second hypothesis. So when I go with this, I just compare this hypothesis H3 with first instance and second instance. See, if I go with first instance, any sunny any value is acceptable, warm any value is acceptable, normal any value is acceptable, means this hypothesis H3 will classify first instance as a positive. This is fine. So when we have with the second instance, that is sunny, you have here also any value is acceptable, warm you have any value acceptable, but here what you have, normal and high. So this value, when I considered normal, this hypothesis, this H3 hypothesis will classify positive instance, that is second as a positive instance with as a negative instances. Hence, I do not consider this hypothesis. Similarly, with the H4, what do you have? Question mark, question mark, question mark. What is the opposite value here? I have only one value, that is strong. If I write strong, this will, here you can see question mark, question mark. So this hypothesis, again it will classify your instances, negative instance as a positive instances. So this is not acceptable. Now what you have? H5 hypothesis, question mark, and you have another, that is warm you have, here also warm you have. What the third instance you have? Warm. If I write it as a warm in the third attribute, so this hypothesis will classify this negative instance as a positive instances. So hence I cannot accept this fifth hypothesis, and remaining is, this is your sixth hypothesis. So this will classify first instance as a positive, second instance, that is positive example, as a positive example, third instance, that is negative instance, which will classify as a negative instances. So this is my updated G3, which consists of 3 hypotheses. So I hope this you have understood. So now let's see with the fourth instance. So similarly, whatever we have performed with the first instance, second instance, the third instance, we have fourth instance. Here you can see this. If I, whether this S3 is consistent with this instance or not, we need to check. So sunny is there, warm is there, here you have high. So if I replace with the question mark, what you can do? You can, this is acceptable. Here what you have? Strong is acceptable. Here what you have? Cool, warm. So question mark, it is updated. Here change, here also you have same, and it is updated with the any value is acceptable constant. So it is similarly like your find S algorithm. This is when you have the positive example. So you need to check with the general boundary whether this hypothesis, that is these hypotheses, are consistent with my fourth instance and also the previous instances or not. So if I go with the third one, here the same is acceptable, sunny, this sunny is acceptable, any value is acceptable. So this holds good, this hypothesis holds good with the fourth instance and also previous instances. Here warm is acceptable, here also warm is there, that is this hypothesis is consistent with all other instances. So next you have same, but what you have here? Change. So if I go with that, this hypothesis, this will classify positive instance as negative instance. So hence I have removed this hypothesis. So right now my updated set, which consists of two hypotheses which are consistent with all four instances, and also which will classify accordingly. So this is your version space of your candidate elimination algorithm. See, in this figure you can see that the final version space for enjoy sports concept learning problem and the training example which I described earlier, that is you have four instances. So this learned version space, which is independent of sequence in which the training examples are presented. So there are two boundaries are there, S boundary and G boundaries will move non-monetically closer to each other by delimiting a smaller and smaller version space of candidate hypothesis, and this is your final version space of your candidate elimination algorithm. So I hope you have understood this example clearly. How we have got these hypotheses? Here again we have replaced the two attributes at a time, and we have checked whether these hypotheses are consistent with my instances or not. So we have done with that by replacing the two attributes. So this is your final version space. So this completes your candidate elimination algorithm. Let's see the inductive bias now. In the candidate elimination algorithm, so that will converges towards the true target concept, provided it is given some accurate training examples and its initial hypothesis space which contains the target concepts. So here thus there are some of the fundamental questions for inductive inference that need to be addressed. So the first question is, what if the target concept is not contained in the hypothesis space? Can we avoid this difficulty by using hypothesis space that includes every possible hypothesis? How does the size of the hypothesis space that will influence the ability of the algorithm to generalize to unobserved instance? And the fourth one is, how does this size of the hypothesis will influence the number of the training example that must be observed? So we'll try to address these questions one by one. Inductive bias, the first is the effect of incomplete hypothesis space. Let's see this. Suppose we have to assure that hypothesis space which contains the unknown target concept. So one of the solution is to enrich the hypothesis space so that it will include all the possible hypotheses. So to discuss with this, let's consider an example, that is enjoy sports concept. In this example, which restrict the hypothesis space to include only conjunction of attributes value. So because of this restriction, the hypothesis space is unable to represent even simple disjunctive target concept such as sky is equals to sunny or sky is equals to cloudy. So let's consider our instances. What the first instance is? Sunny, warm, normal, strong, cool and change. This is the target concept is yes, that is positive instance, and also second instance is also positive, and the third is negative instance. So after the two instance, after we compute with the candidate elimination algorithm, we receive the S2 as this hypothesis. So you can see that when I compare with the third instance with S2, this S2 will classify the negative instance as your positive instance. So this hypothesis is maximally specific hypothesis from H that is consistent with the first two examples. So which is already general, and this hypothesis will incorrectly classifies or covers the third negative example. So the problem is that we have biased the learner to consider only the conjunctive hypothesis. So in this case we require more expressive hypothesis space. This is your first. So to address your second question, that is incomplete hypothesis space, the solution is to the problem of the obvious solution to the problem of assuring that the target concept is in the hypothesis space, that will provide a hypothesis space which is capable of representing every teachable concept, that is capable of representing every possible subset of instance. So if C is not in H, then you need to consider generalizing the representation of H such that it should contain, that is target concept should contain in H. The size of the instance space X depends upon the days described by the 6 attributes which can be computed as 96. So the number of distinct subset that can be defined over the set is your power set of X, that can be represented as 2 to the power of X. So you can recall that there are 96 instances are there in the Enjoy Sports, hence there can be 296 possible hypotheses in full space of H. So this can be done by using a full proposition calculus with and, or, and, not. Hence H defined only by the conjunction of attribute is biased. So let's reformulate this Enjoy Sports learning task in an unbiased way by defining a new hypothesis space, that is H dash. So that can be represent every subset of instance, that is H dash, which corresponds to the power set of X. So one of the way to define H dash is to allow arbitrary disjunction, conjunction and negation of the earlier hypothesis. For instance, you can go with this type of representing the hypothesis by using your conjunction, disjunction and negation with respect to your target concept, that is sky is equals to sunny or sky is equal to cloudy. So as we discussed earlier, the fundamental property of inductive inference is that a learner that makes no a prior assumption regarding the identity of the target concept that has no rational basis for classifying any unseen instance. So this is your inductive inference. So because inductive learning that required some form of a prior assumption or inductive bias, so that will be useful to characterize different learning approach by the inductive bias. So let's see this in the form of definition. So let's consider a concept learning algorithm L for the set of the instance X. So here that C can be an arbitrary concept which is defined over X, and D be an arbitrary set of training examples of C, and L xi comma dc, which denotes the classification which is assigned by an instance xi by L after training on the data, that is dc. And the inductive bias of L, that is learning algorithm, is any minimal set of assertion such that for any target concept C and corresponding training example DC, which is denoted here. So this is your inductive bias, that is biased free learning. See, from this figure you can identify the modeling inductive system by equivalent deductive system. The input output behavior of candidate elimination algorithm using your hypothesis space, which is denoted as H, which is identical to the deductive theorem, which is proven utilizing the assertion. What is the assertion is H contains the target concept. So this assertion is therefore called as inductive bias of the candidate elimination algorithm. So that characterizing your inductive system by their inductive bias that will allow modeling them by equivalent deductive system. So this provides a way to compare inductive system according to their policies of generalizing beyond the observed training data. Here you can see in the inductive system two inputs are there. One is a training examples and new instances. And what is the output here? You have to classify, that is classification of new instance or don't know. And here what we have doing? We are doing inductive bias on candidate elimination algorithm using your hypothesis space. Similarly, for your deductive system, we are providing an additional assertion, that is H contains the target concept, which will provide you the classification of the new instance or don't know value. So this is how we are going with the inductive bias. So this completes your module 1. So let's see in the module 2. Thank you so much.